Hey there, so you're here at the showing off of unnamed plugin. So what we're doing here is we're connecting this into Codex, and it's a direct connection where Codex is able to actually work inside of Unreal Engine. So here we have, if I press play, Voxel City, which is part of the Damocles project, which is part of the C2 restoration project. Now, the rest of the city is procedural. The only part of it that's actually needing to stay here is that tower in the middle. And I'm going to give Codex some direction regarding the actual makeup of this city. So I'm going to hit print screen. There we go. I'm going to feed that into Codex, which is done. Just a quick Control V. And now I'm just going to use some words. Hi Codex, so good work. Some of the voxel trees are looking lovely and thin, which is what I like. So, some things to fix. I asked you if you could expand the central part of the city. You've made the buildings taller, but the actual central high-rise district is not larger. It needs to be larger and expand outwards. Okay, so basically double the density of the interior city by increasing it from the middle outwards. Not a great description, I know, but I'm not a city planner. You are. Secondly, the density of the small houses. They're not dense enough. Increase the density. Also increase the, work on the fall off in height of buildings. So we've got nice high rises near the centre, but the high rises are all really tall, and then suddenly they're small brownstones, and then they're houses. Okay, so we want the gradient curve. We want this more natural. We also want, in the centre, the high rises should be twice as wide. Okay, so this is something complex for you. So the high rises need to be wider in the centre of the building. Think about it, they've bought more land to put their high rise on, they're building upwards, they've got a nice wide high rise, okay? What you can also do is vary the width of the high rises. Think of the Eiffel Tower, not the Eiffel Tower, but God, the Empire State Building. As it goes up, it narrows. Think of other high rise buildings as well. You know, different area, different ages, different periods. The monorail looked kind of fun, I quite like it, so go with that, but the track stops suddenly. And a last really big niggle that I'm going to talk to you about right now is, if we look at the hills, I can see basically two green blocks, okay, that are intersecting houses. You can see them on the image. That's not how hills work. Also, if you look at the riverbanks, what you appear to have done, rather than created a riverbank, is created a levee. So the ground plane is flat and you built a kind of levee on either side of the river. Don't get me wrong, that's really cute, but it's also digging into the houses, image included. What I want you to do, I'm going to shut this down. I want you to go and do your magic, come back to me and make this something that, I'm going to sit and cry at because it's so damn beautiful. Okay, get on back to me. Much love. See you in a few. Let's pause it. Before I do pause it, incidentally, here's the transcription, okay? Just so that you know what it's working with. So those are the two images I've given it. It's connected. I'm only using Terra Medium at the minute. Use Sol High for this, please, and use bounded agents at Terra Medium and Luna High, Luna Max to assist. Okay, so that way it's going to use like a very high level model, but also it's going to use some low level models too. Do you need me to stop and restart with Luna High selected? Because I can't remember. The life of a programmer, so hard. More coffee. Yummy. Well, time for a kind of fizzy pop. I'm going to take my cat to the vet this afternoon, so I may as well enjoy having, enough money for a kind of fizzy pop before that removes all of my money. Pausing. Okay, we are headed towards a fix here, so I'm going to move this over here because we should be getting this opening any second now. I'll move it into the correct place. Now the actual amount of change to this is probably going to be absolutely minimal, because sometimes it takes a while to kind of explain what it is that's needed, but trust me, it's still faster than doing it myself. Especially with the fact that this is all deterministic code and procedural stuff, which means that I'd be surrounded by bits of paper having a headache. And this isn't like it's mission critical stuff. This is just, you know, when you go down a bit of a rabbit hole, that's what's happened here. I just kind of got curious, but at the same time it gives me a chance to test out the plugin. And the plugin was only built so that I could go down the rabbit hole in the first place, and ended up being, well, you can kind of see how powerful this plugin is. Just pause a minute while it's still going. Okay, so now what I need to do is just press play in the M6 voxel district. Oh my word, what's going on here? Okay, so actually, yep, it's done what I asked it to do, and it's done it really surprised me well. I'm actually really surprised. So now we have much wider buildings in the central core here, which is what I was looking for, with a monorail going in between them, which is like quite a nice bonus, to be quite honest. I know it collides with things, but that's okay. It's actually a good start. Central thoroughfares are nice and clear, and if I look at now the actual profile of this, it looks okay. I'm actually quite pleased with it. Let's have a look. Like that central area there, which is actually the player's destination, is like the central monument for this. But yeah, that isn't bad. It's reading to me as large city. The density has been improved significantly as well, although I am looking at a lack of trees in between buildings on the outskirts, which is a bit sad. So let's give it one final mission, shall we? So I'm going to pull right back here and get a screenshot. Need to get the screenshot properly. There we go. So here we go. Pop it in. That is excellent. Okay, I'm not going to lie, that's really excellent work. So here's your final task for the moment before I call this experiment pretty much kind of successful. I know there's glitches, I know it's not perfect, but you know what? Not a bad place to be. I want trees, okay? See all these beautiful boulevards in the image I've given you? Let's have trees, okay, in between the houses. Nice thick amounts of trees. Let's go like, you know, let's think like northern parts of America where there's woods and stuff. Also, at the minute, love the blockiness of the central part of the city. Let's add a bit more random spread to that, add some bigger buildings kind of leaking out into areas where there were housing, replacing the housing. Okay, so not so much of an even cube. So keep the middle part, increase the density at the edges and have it leak out into the urban sprawl. Aside from that, I think that's excellent. Incidentally, are shadows turned off on the voxeling? I suspect they are. If they are, let's turn shadows back on so that the environment works with it too, and go. Okay, here we go, one last time. Okay, so what it's doing at the minute is just checking to see kind of what's happened. So it's doing a check of my internal logs and so forth. While it's doing that, we can actually see that there's some crazy old shadows going on, which is kind of nice. Kind of all over the place by the looks of things. I think distance on shadows is a bit nuts. There you go. Anyway, I'm just going to pause it for a second while it finishes. So there were 198,732 voxel runs with Unreal Engine remaining responsive. FPS is good. I mean, I am in Play and Editor. As we can see, it has actually done what I asked, which is to put larger buildings out in the suburbs in kind of some random areas, which is certainly added to the ambience of the buildings here. I mean, the buildings aren't perfect, but you know what? That was never the point, to make them completely perfect. We now have boulevards with trees, which is nice as well. So, I mean, it's kind of working the way that I wanted it to. I'm just going to adjust the actual sun direction to behind the city. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to walk behind the city. I want to just check that nighttime and shadows and stuff kind of works. So I'm just going to go behind it. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. And again, the entire thing is now a procedural thing that can be regenerated based on exactly what it is that I want. So I've got this whole kind of city generation tool using these basic voxels. Yes, it isn't like, you know, AAA grade yet, but with some refinement from a developer who knows about voxel stuff. You know, there's no reason why it can't be, especially once we add in things like, you know, proper recipes. I mean, if you look at what's happened now with the drains, for example, we have like drains following different patterns. I know it's basic, but again, drains following different patterns. We've got lovely narrow cities, okay, where all sorts of strange, chaotic things can take place. And overall, you know, I think this test is a success. I'm very pleased with it. It looks voxel cyberpunk in certain places, which is kind of cool. I'm just going to adjust the lighting. So again, I'll go to the lighting system over here. You can see the lighting is right on the edge. So I can bring it literally down to darkness and have a play. See how the city looks there? Oh, look at that. Look at that, eh? City lit by night now. Using nothing but emissives. Again, beautiful. And give it some midday sun. And there it is with the shadowing from the midday sun, the buildings in shadows and all that kind of thing. So that is glorious. I'm very happy. Okay, so hopefully you found that interesting. Yeah, I'll show some more tests on how this plugin just interacts with 3ds Max with more directed scenes as well. But bear in mind that, again, this scene, everything is basically built by Unreal Engine based on the specifications directly inside of Unreal Engine using a direct Codex Link plugin. So that's pretty cool. See you in a bit.